Welcome to a summer edition of Make It Happen, where we're talking all about going from sales rep to CEO in your business. Whether you are in a direct sales organization or you started a startup and now your company is growing, today I'm going to share with you 5 tips and strategies that will help you take on that role so that your team can thrive, your culture can grow, and your paychecks can blossom. Welcome to Make It Happen. Welcome to Pick My Brain. For today's question, we are going to Amber Sanders, who is asking about short form content and specifically creating reels. Now, if you have a question, I would love for you to send it in to me to Michelle@speakmichelle.com. You can put Pick My Brain in the subject line and I will answer it on a future episode of this show. You can also find me on your favorite social media channel. On Instagram, I'm Speak Michelle, and you can send me a direct message and you can send me questions that way as well. But I love this question because short form content is everywhere. We've even done a whole episode on video content for 2022 if you want to go back and watch it. But what I'm going to say about reels that we can only talk about in about 3 minutes is you can watch trends, but what I'm finding that is working better for us and for our clients is actually creating some trends of your own. Play with some of the things that other people are doing. Look at some of the audio and create some of your audio, but figure out what you can do that showcases your business, because sometimes you can get stuck or caught into just creating trending audio videos over and over again, and those aren't the ones that are going to transition into your business. If you're just an online influencer, sure, create trending audio videos all day long. But if you're building a business, then you're probably going to need to figure out how to cut through the clutter of trends and create content that people are interested in and that they like. The second thing that I'll share with you about Reels is make sure that you know what the purchase cycle is in conjunction with those Reels to get people onto your landing pages, to get them to purchase from you, and how are you doing calls to action that work. Now, of course, you can't do every single Reel like a sale, but what can you do that encourages people to look at your additional content or to figure out what you have to offer? Because a lot of times it can be tricky showcasing that content, especially when they want to see you as a human, as the influencer in the organization, as the CEO, as the business owner. How do you transition them over to your landing pages and to your products? Every business is going to be a little bit different. Maybe you have calls to action every other time. Maybe you're drawing them to your link tree or to lots of different links or a landing page regularly so they know what they can get from you. But whether you're a big business or a small business or somewhere in between, make sure that you know what that product action and steps are for the client experience from Reel to purchase. And the last thing that I'll share with you in my third and final tip about creating Reels is create consistently and create a routine that works. We have found with some clients that it works to post a Reel twice a week, and we get really great traction. They get improved views, and we've got other clients who they really have to post a Reel every single day for 5 days a week. And that can be tricky creating content like that. And it can be a cost, especially if you're needing vertical video content, but figure out the routine, but try to create a system or a routine around it so that it doesn't break the time bank and it also doesn't break the dollar bank. So figure out what you need to do in your business so that you can create routines around Reels. And if you struggle with creating consistent content every single day, just ramp up. Maybe you do once a week for a month or two so that you can get into the groove of Reels. And then maybe you do twice a week for a couple months and you get into the groove of that. One of the things that works best for me and for my brand is consistently creating at the same time and batching, just like anything else. So I'll create the videos for 6 or 7 Reels in one sitting, and then I'll go back and I'll create the captions for 6 or 7 Reels in one sitting. And then we upload them and we schedule them and we get them out over those times. So whatever it is that you need to do, batching and adding it to your daily, weekly, and monthly tasks will help you thrive. I know this is just like a crash course on Reels, so it may not answer all of your questions, but I'm cheering you on because it is powerful content, especially on Instagram and Facebook right now, that will get you the greatest results to reach your clients and help you expand and grow your audience base. Cheering you on. Over the course of the last 15 to 18 years, as I have worked with many small business owners, a lot of people in direct sales, I have noticed an interesting transition that I want to chat about on today's show. And it's what I call going from sales rep to CEO. A lot of people, when they're just getting started in their startup phase, they're hustling for business. They're focusing on getting sales and completing transactions. This especially happens in direct sales as well, especially when you're just starting, you're peddling products. I mean that in a positive way. You're talking about your situation and how it's helped you, how those products have served you. And then as you grow and you build a team, you actually need to shift into a different role. And it feels uncomfortable. It feels foreign. And whether you have a brick and mortar business or an online business or a direct sales business, that transition from sales rep to CEO can be a little bit tricky and sometimes clunky. So today I want to share with you some principles that I've learned over the years to help you step into that position for the culture of your company, for the success of your company, and so that you can truly work on your business rather than in your business. And I'm going to share with you a little framework that I hope will be helpful. You know I love all things happiness, and you know that I also have a book called Be the Happiest. We're going to talk about where these two meld. I was having a conversation with Mark Levy. He's the one who worked with Simon Sinek on Start With Why. And as we had a conversation regarding happiness, he said a powerful phrase that I keep thinking over and over again, that the most important high performance tool is happiness. And I have always believed this. And so I'm grateful for his second witness, if you will. But we're going to talk about building a culture from the way that you show up as a CEO using a happy framework. So you've probably heard of the pessimist who looks on the bad side and the realist who sees things as they really are, and then the optimist who looks on the bright side. And you can probably think of people who fit each of these categories. You know someone who complains all the time. Maybe it's you. You know someone who is just calling things like they really are, and they don't seem like a pessimist, but they don't seem like an optimist, and sometimes they play both roles. And maybe you know an optimist who is positive, happy, looks on the bright side, regardless of the circumstances that are going on around, and sometimes you want to punch them. The kinds of optimists that are in your life, sometimes you want to be in your realist space and you don't need an optimist. And what I have learned in business and in life, that there is a level one above all three of these, and that is being the happiest. The happiest doesn't just look on the bright side, they live there. And as a happiest CEO, as you live in a positive frame of mind that affects the nature and the culture of your business, then you'll find that your team operates at a higher level because the culture feels safe, it feels healthy, and it feels like a space where they can thrive. So I'm going to share with you what I am calling the happy framework for happy CEOs. And I want you to think about which of these 5 areas do you need to spend the most time on? Which of these 5 areas will bring you the greatest success in your business now and in the future? And which one do you know needs some focus? So first and foremost, we're going to talk about H, and that's for heart. Putting some heart into you and into your business. Some businesses do this through a mission statement or a vision statement, if you will. That's fine. It can accomplish the task. And I'm happy if you have a corporate vision or mission statement, but I also need you to have a vision or mission statement that moves you forward. A couple of years ago, it was October 1st, and I was driving my kids to school across town, and I saw the crossing guard close to my kids' school. And she was dressed up like a lumberjack. She had on a red and black plaid shirt and suspenders and jeans and boots and fluorescent gloves and had an axe. And I remember judging her just a little bit because I didn't feel like axes and crossing guards went together. Luckily, I did not say anything out loud in front of my kids, but I dropped them off. I went home, and October 2nd, she was dressed up again. This time she was dressed up as Winnie the Pooh, and I thought to myself, I get it. It's Halloween. And successfully, she dressed up every single day the entire month. I think it was about day 10 when she dressed up like a Ghostbuster, and that's when I pulled over and was like, I love you. I think you're amazing. Tell me your story. And she told me the story about how she had been terminally ill for years and had spent a lot of time in bed. And she needed a reason to get up in the morning just to see her kids. So she signed up to be a crossing guard, and she started at the beginning of the school year, and she quickly figured out that she had a fair amount of influence on these kids. And they would, they were walking to school, if they seemed down or nervous, she would say, hey, what's going on? And they're like, oh, I've got a math test today and I'm worried about it. And she would say, oh, you can do it. I'm here for you. Good luck. And I'll think good thoughts for you. And then they'd come back at the end of the day and they'd say, I aced my math test. And she was building relationships with these kids that extended far beyond the safety of just simply crossing a street. And interestingly enough, as she put her heart and soul into this activity and figured out what her mission was not just punching a clock, not just the benefits that it was giving her kids, but the opportunity she had to influence all the people around her. She figured out ways that she could connect with those kids, and she continued to dress that entire month of October, and I absolutely loved her for it. In fact, sometimes I drive by and I get a little bit choked up. And I thought October would be done and she would go back to her regularly scheduled programming of regular clothes and crossing the street. But no, in November, she dressed up like pilgrims and even a turkey for Thanksgiving. And then in December, she dressed up as each one of Santa's sleigh reindeer. So we had a Cupid and a Donner and a Blitzen and a Dancer and a Prancer and a Rudolph. And it was incredible to watch her. And over the last couple of years, she continues to dress up most days. And it's fun to follow her on social media. It's fun to pass her. And it's fun to see how she has impressed and made my life better. And that is someone who is putting heart into everything they do. Now, I'm not saying that as a CEO, you need to dress up every day. But what could you do that helps people feel seen and takes your business to the next level? What culture references from you, the things that you want to instill? What does that look like for you? My good friend, Sydney Jakes, she has been on this show before. She has Monday morning team meetings, and every Monday morning, she asks a connection question. She asks them something where they can sit and share, and that is part of her heart and her mission with her company, that it's not just about business, that they spend a lot of time together in the days, and she wants to have a team that's connected. So what kind of heart can you infuse into your business so that people feel connected to you and that they see you as a human and a person and a reason why they want to continue to stay? Gone are the days where individuals are simply punching a clock to get a paycheck. Lifestyle is an important part of what they do and how they work. And you have the opportunity as a CEO and as a team leader of the people that you recruit to build that sense of culture and unity within your organization so that people want to stay, because it doesn't just feel like a job, it feels like a mission. What can you do? And so again, just think about it. Which of these areas do you want to spend the most time thinking about? And which of these areas do you feel like would benefit your life best? The A in happy stands for action. You know I'm a make it happen person, so we can't have a framework without something that instills a sense of forward movement and high performance into what you do. But actions are incredibly important. What is it that you need to do daily, weekly, and monthly that infuse regular results and regular paychecks in your business? When you go from salesman to CEO, it can be tricky to make that transition when you're not relying on what you can do to bring in paychecks, but what the others around you are doing as you hire sales reps, as you recruit team members. What does that look like? But your actions still need to move into that team lead role and that CEO position that inspires action that will bring the kind of revenue that you want into your business. So what does that look like? What actions do you need to take now? The actions that you took as a sales rep may be different than the actions that you take as a CEO. So creating your daily, weekly, and monthly list will actually take some thought process in your brain to shift your actions into new activities that will bring new results. What are you doing to support your team? What kinds of meetings do you want to have? What kind of office hours do you want to put in place? How do you train people and onboard people when they come in? What actions do you put in place so that you have regular connections and conversations with your team so that they're performing the ways that they need to? How are you evaluating their performance? How do you give them encouragement for what they do? I have regular meetings with my assistants and my team so that they can stay accountable to the tasks that need to be done, but also so that we have a culture of communication in our company so that we always have ways to talk and connect, especially in a virtual world. My team more than ever works virtually, and it's tricky for me because I love the opportunity of reaching over across the desk and saying, hey, can you take care of this for me? Or just having a conversation in the room. So it's requiring more regular activities for connection and management that will give us positive communication so that we can continue to thrive and be successful. What action items do you need? This is one of the places where I see sales reps to CEOs struggle the most because they try to do some of their same old activities without adding in the new ones that need to help them elevate their administration and the management in their organization. So take some time to brainstorm. What actions do you need to put in place that support your team to help them thrive in their tasks and their actions? And what actions do you need to take to grow and build the business? As you move into a CEO role, you tend to be more of an influencer position. So how can you use your influence for good needed, both within your team and also within your audience and your target market, so that you can be the face of the organization and the face of the team, so that they want to be part of what you're doing. And as you infuse your heart into that, they work hand in hand for people to want to be part and follow what you do. Now, if you're in direct sales, this is especially important because you have to create an example of actions that people behind you can take on as well. Maybe you share with them your daily, weeklies, and monthlies that happened as a sales rep so that they can get into those habits as well. And also share with them that your dailies, weeklies, and monthlies are different now that you're in a team building role. And as you practice those different activities, and each week you have the opportunity to shift and change and grow and change different actions that meet your needs, but be willing to make the jump into that position where you're moving into a support responsibility rather than a doer responsibility. What actions do you need to change? And maybe you just need to block off 30 minutes over the next couple of weeks. Take some time with your to-do list and your action items and see what needs the most attention and see what kinds of new actions you need to put in place to support you so that you can thrive. So as we move into the P, the first P is practice. Now, I've talked about this before with Make It Happen, but we have to practice at the things that we want to happen. And it's not about perfection. So often I sit across the table from people making transitions in their businesses as their businesses grow, and they are hitting stumbling blocks. The actions that they used to take don't work anymore because they're doing them at a different level. Their team isn't maybe performing at the level they used to. Maybe the team activities that they were doing aren't working now, and so they have to come up with new things. Maybe the landscape is different and what you're shifting and selling and what you're putting into place has shifted a little. So you have to put new actions in place. And so it feels clunky, it feels bumpy. And I have people sit across the table from me with great big heart in their business, but because the actions are different and because it's not smooth, they question whether or not they want to move forward. Now, I'm always going to be a fan of people making different changes and allowing chapters in their life to be chapters and opening themselves up to new opportunities. But sometimes you have to give yourself permission to practice this new level, practice this new title, the new position, the new responsibilities, the new team, and give your team the ability to practice as well. Allow them the same privilege that it's not about perfection, that some things will be bumpy and that you're all learning together. That will also create a very healthy environment where people feel like they can try more frequently because failure is welcome as you learn from it. How can you demonstrate that as a leader so that they want to follow in those same similar footsteps and that they feel safe in practicing at progress? It's not ever going to be perfect. You'll feel bumpy along the way, but give yourself permission to let those bumps kind of work themselves out. And when you find that you continue to hit the same bumps over and over again, ask yourself the question, what can I do differently to make this run smoother? What needs to change? Is it my actions? Is it the mission? Is it the focus? Is it the team? And just be willing to ask lots of questions. In the practice space, you welcome questions from all sides. You welcome solutions from all sides. And you give your team and you the opportunity to sit with those questions for a little bit, but be willing to make the changes and move on. So my question for you today is, are you practicing at staying the same or are you practicing at progress? What does that look like? Because sometimes we get stuck in our same patterns. We get stuck in our same routines. We get stuck wanting to do things in an old way, but we're not getting new results. So what could you practice new that would help you be able to move forward? And that is our first P. A lot of what we talk about is really just making decisions about whether or not you want to be proactive versus reactive. How are you showing up in your business in a way that's proactive? Because a lot of people who are making the transition from sales rep to CEO find themselves struggling, and it feels a little bit like an out-of-body experience because they're just reacting to all the challenges that are coming their way. What could you be proactive about that would eliminate some of the headaches? And that will help you as you create systems. Part of the practice and the section here that we're talking about is creating systems and routines that match your business. I always love the book, The E-Myth by Michael Gerber, and he talks about creating systems in your business that you can do time and time again so that your customers and your team can expect the same experience with every transaction. Now, sure, there are little nuances along the way, but even in my small business, creating systems and routines for how we upload podcasts, how we create social media content and share it, how we create content for clients, the systems and processes for approvals, All of those systems and processes help our business function and run, and it truly is also how we grow. It helps us know where we need to add additional help, when we need to make different changes. What can you be proactive about in your business? What do those systems look like that will help you feel more in control of the practice of what you do every single day? Now, the second P that I want to share with you is about planning. Now, some people might say, hey, Michelle, we probably should be talking about planning first, maybe long before heart or long before actions, and maybe even long before practice. However, I have found that it's a lot easier to plan from a place of experience. And sure, you should write a business plan. You could even write a sticky note business plan as you move forward or start a brand new venture or even open a new chapter in your business. But after you've put some of these other pieces in place, sit down and say to yourself, now what? I know what my mission is. I know the kind of movement I'm creating within my team. I also know what I'm committed to as a leader. I know the actions I'm going to put in place. I've got my dailies, weeklies, and monthlies. And a part of our culture is a system of practice where we create solutions and regular activities to bring regular results. The planning piece then says, okay, from here, now what? Now, in a couple of episodes, I'm going to do a whole show on how to recession-proof your business. So you can watch for that. That'll be in about 2 weeks. But part of planning is looking forward. And I've had a number of clients concerned about the economic landscape and all of the things that are going on politically and happening in the world. But really, planning will give you an opportunity to sit down and say, okay, what are my non-negotiables? What do I need to do as a CEO? What do I need to do as a team leader? And what do I need to do as someone who cares about the success of this business? And you put those plans in place. So as you think about your plans, I also want you to be thinking about your time management. We've talked about time management on the show before. And there's also an entire episode you can go and watch on the 4 time traps, the biggest distractions that people take. But time management is only one piece of the planning process. Planning is about time management for you, but it's also about creating that type of environment for your team where they know what's expected of them. And you have job descriptions. They don't have to be 10 pages long, but is it clear about what people should and shouldn't be doing? And some of you will say, well, Michelle, I'm in direct sales. I can't really create job descriptions. But what if you could? What if you created a job description for each of the different ranks in your organization? What if you helped them see and understand what's expected or what success principles look like at each of those levels so that they can rank advance? Because they're going to have the same challenges that you have. They're going to have the same challenges going from sales rep to the CEO of their business. But if at each level you gave them an opportunity about how they could plan their life, plan their days, plan their futures, and plan their activities that help their businesses grow, they actually might rank advance faster. Sure, the organization that you have may have some things like that, but what can you do that infuses the heart and the culture of your organization and what you want to grow with your team so that you're building a cohesive unit that sees what the end result is and knows exactly how to get there? You might find that you'll get greater results and that they'll move through those ranks faster because they feel like they're progressing in a way that feels in alignment with what they've put together. I also want you to help your team create plans of their own when they're setting their goals. You can do this as well, but planning is also about how quickly do you want to move through, how quickly do you want to advance, how quickly do you want to hit sales goals, and what plans do you want to put in place. I'm not just about creating big, hairy, audacious goals and not doing anything about it. I'm about creating a big, hairy, audacious goal and saying, what's our plan to get there? What habits are you doing daily, weekly, and monthly that will help you thrive? And as you put that plan in place, then it comes in conjunction with your calendar. I see lots of people create great plans or great ideas, but they don't block out the time. Block out the time for your success. I love the quote by Brendon Burchard that says, success is scheduled. And if you want to have those results and those habits happen, they don't happen by sitting on a to-do list for when you have time. They happen by blocking them out, knowing what hours you're going to work. And this is one of the greatest transitions from sales rep to CEO, because sometimes we do sales repping and promoting products when we have time. But when we're CEOs, we're working in our business, and you don't even have to work full time in your business to be successful, but you do need to know where your time is being spent and how you are working it. Each month I sit down and block out my whole month. I know which times I'm doing client calls, which times I'm doing team calls, which times I'm doing marketing, which times I'm accomplishing my daily, weeklies, and monthly tasks. They've got time blocks on my calendar. And that planning makes all the difference to set me up to succeed. Now, are there some days where the timer gets put in the blender and I can't accomplish all the things that I set out my plan? Absolutely. And it happens more often than I wish it did. But a good plan helps set me up to succeed and also helps me set good expectations for my team so that we can all rise together. And if you need to make changes, but start with a plan and you will feel a lot more in control of your future. There are very few CEOs in this world that wake up saying, I see what's going to happen to me today. And we'll just go with the flow. Many CEOs, even with plans to have space and time to make changes, have the plans in place to thrive, and they know exactly what they're doing and when, so that they can be the kind of leaders that they need to be and they have time for the things that are most important to them. So how are you planning and what are you doing? Now, as we close out our Happy CEO framework today, that last why is the most important part of all of it. You can have all the heart that you want in your business. You can be taking regular daily actions. You can be practicing at what you do, and you can also have a plan. But if you don't have time scheduled for you, then you will struggle. As you move from a sales rep to a CEO role, it will take more time. It will take more emotional energy. It will take more effort for you to have the kind of success and the results that you want. So what are you doing for you that helps you feel like you're caring for yourself? There are a lot of conversations out in the world, and I'm not the first one to have it, about self-care and prioritizing yourself and giving yourself the time and energy that you need so that you can so that you're not pulling from an empty well and that you have built up reserves that help you feel successful. One of my favorite self-care practices is the power up and power down routine. I'm not going to talk about that in great detail today because I will share a link to an episode with the power up and power down for you to watch at a future time or whenever you need to, if you need to go back to it. But you've probably also heard of a power hour or something in the morning. I don't think it has to be an hour, but I do believe that how you begin and end your day is one of the greatest pieces of control that you have in your life that will mean the most for you to feel like you are in control of you. When I take care of myself in the beginning of the day and at the end of the day with my power up and my power down, it's like a bookend that gives me that care and support that I need to be able to give everyone else what they need. I'm focused on my goals. I'm making sure my reading is done. I'm prioritizing activities. I spend time doing things that are meaningful. And so I don't feel like I'm running on empty all day long. I feel like I've fueled myself in order to be able to give what I need to other people. But that's just one way. What other ways can you focus and care about you? As I moved into 2022, I found myself working a lot more than I had before, especially a lot more than I had during pandemic months when we were staying at home. And I found myself wondering if it was even worth it. I loved the work that I did. I loved my clients, but I was tired. And so I found that if I scheduled the time, just like I did with any of my other planning, to some things that were the most important to me, I could look forward to those things, and it made it a lot easier to do the day-to-day tasks and activities that needed to be done for my team and my clients. Little things like I love going to the movies. And so I started working in 2 Tuesdays a month when I could go for $6 Tuesdays to go to the movies in the afternoon. And I blocked it out on my calendar, and I could look forward to that all month long. And it was great to know that I was caring for myself and I was doing the things that I need to. I also have a power list of music at the go whenever I need it, something that's peppy and will keep me upbeat and keep me happy whenever I'm challenged. But what do you need? What are the things that you need in your life that will help you feel like you're taking care of you, that you're fueling yourself so that you can give to others? That is one of the biggest things that I see, especially since I work with a lot of women. I have 6 of my top clients right now are people who are in the top of their direct sales organizations. And as they've struggled moving from sales rep to CEO in their businesses, they find themselves sacrificing all of the things that they've cared about the most. And the things that make them who they are and they're running on empty. They're burnt out. They're tired. And the ones who are thriving are the ones who are saying, okay, I'm going to give myself permission to focus on the things that I care about most, whether it's reading a book or taking up stained glass or having an art project or being in a play, whatever it is. One of the greatest parts about focusing on self-care is it will give you a creative outlet. What are the things that you can create in a way that isn't tied to revenue or bottom lines, but helps you feel like a human? Those are the kinds of pieces that you can put in place for you to have the kind of self-care that you need to thrive as you move from this transition. Here are just 5 principles, 5 things that we've talked about today about being a happy CEO and transitioning from that level where you were just entry into an organization and now you're the one calling the shots. Don't sacrifice success habits that will help you thrive. And as you create your own list of success principles and processes and routines, you will thrive. Remember that it's not just about checking boxes. Anytime I find myself disconnected or detached from my business, I go back to the first question. What kind of heart can I infuse into my business? What is my purpose? What's my passion? What is the meaning of what I'm doing? And how do I put that in place? Wherever you are, I hope that you'll consider each one of these categories. Identify which area needs the most attention. Maybe your heart is solid, but your planning could use a little work. Maybe you're a rock star at planning, but you've sacrificed yourself and your self-care needs a little bit more. I hope that as you consider each of these areas, that you will look at what 1 or 2 places you could spend some time on. You don't need a full overhaul, but what are your top 1 or 2 priorities that if you were to focus, make some shifts and changes here, that they would make a big difference for you and your business. I'm cheering you on as you become the happy CEO that will also be happy with their paychecks. Have a great day and make it happen. Welcome to a special summer edition of Favorite Things. I am wearing my red and blue today because this episode is slated for the beginning of July, and I am so excited to share with you some of my summer must-haves. Now, there's one thing I need to tell you about, and I will put a link in the show notes, but I didn't bring it into the studio because it wouldn't fit. But I just got myself an amazing beach chair with a shade. It is so great. I spend lots of time by the pool, and I love it. I don't have a pool, so I have to go to a pool, and then I have to create my own shade. And last year I would have to find shade, and sometimes it was far away, but now I have my own shade cover, and it is amazing. I used it for the first time yesterday at the pool, and I love it. I got it for my birthday, and I think you need to have one. Number 2 is also in alignment with our 4th of July celebration is a firecracker. I don't even know how to say this chocolatier. Chow? Probably saying it wrong. Tyler just looked at me like, for sure you're saying it wrong. No, he doesn't know. I don't know. But it's CHUAO. They're a good chocolatier that makes fun candy bars with good chocolate, but they put things like potato chips and pretzels, and they have a birthday cake one. But this one's my favorite because it's called Firecracker, of course. It says crafted with joy, which I love, anything happy. But this one has sea salt, a dash of chipotle, and popping candy crackle in dark chocolate. It is so good because it's not overly sweet, but I also just love that there's a little bit of crackle that happens in my mouth. Now, you also need to know that the same brand, Chow, I'm going for it, creates a coal version in December. And it's just black, dark chocolate with popping candies again, but it's like coal, and you can put coal in someone's stocking. That one is actually a smidge better than this, but this you can typically find all year round. I'll put a link for it on Amazon if you want it shipped to you, but most candy stores carry this brand, and so there's lots of good ones in there. I love this one. My favorite drink right now is the Trader Joe's sparkling raspberry lime water. When I'm not drinking the Diet Dr. Pepper, this has been a fun go-to. A little bit of flavor, not overpowering, and I like it. Some people don't like sparkling water, but I'm a fan. And I'm going to tell you about this bag. So I felt like I got suckered by the influencers of the Instagram to get this bag for my trip to New York in May. Now, I got it because I tried to be hip and cool. One of those hip and cool people that wears their bag like over their shoulder like this. I got to be careful with the microphone. But I did. So I got this bag. I actually had to drive to Salt Lake City to get it because I didn't order it in enough time to have it come to my home. And I'll tell you what I like about it and what I don't like, okay? What I like about it the most is that the zipper for the full bag is in the back. So when I'm in a big city, I'm not lifting a flap. I think their older versions had flaps and people hated them, but it was so nice to just be able to look at something in my bag and not the entire world could see what was there. I like having some things for quick access. I put my Metro card here every single time so I could get in and out of the Metro. And then one time I lost my Metro card. I think I put my phone in there. It fell out. It was very sad. But my point is that it's a great bag. Now they have a smaller version of this that you could probably get by with, but I like actually being able to have things that I can carry around. So the bigger version is great. I've got my supplements in here. I've got hand sanitizer. I carried a mask for different places, but I just really loved this bag. There are little hooks and places where you can add extra things. I didn't ever have to do that on this trip, but I will say that I liked it. I don't use this one down here very much. That was kind of a little bit of a hassle. So like people say that the flaps aren't great, but I will say that something like this, it doesn't have to be a Lululemon, but something like this is a great travel bag. I usually have a purse that's like a Dooney and Burke because I love sharing my Disney love everywhere, but this was the right tool for the travel job. And hopefully if it's the right tool for you on your next summer trip. These are a few of my favorite things. What are some of your favorite summer things? I would love to create a list. Please share in the comments or reach out to me on social media and let's create a summer favorite things list. I also hope that you enjoyed today's episode talking about how you can go from sales rep to CEO in your business. And I hope that before you leave this audio, you've identified 1 or 2 areas of priority for you. As always, thank you so much for tuning in to Make It Happen. I know life and times are busy. I'm here to provide you great content, and I hope that you will leave your honest thoughts and reviews so that other people can find shows based off of the things that you say. I know it's powerful. I know it's meaningful, and I read every single one. Thank you for being part of Make It Happen, and I'm excited to be part of you and your business and your life. Cheering you on. Have a great summer.